Good evening, everybody, again. I'm Ryan here alongside Caleb. We are joined as well with Mike, who is still out there chasing. I believe Tyler's out there too, but he shut his camera off. We're back live again for our severe weather briefing for the evening. Give me a second here. So let's go ahead and talk about tonight's severe threat as well as tomorrow's severe threat. All right. Audio good? Give me a thumbs up here in chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Go ahead and get this started. Caleb is not a new guy. He's been with us ever since September of last year. He just covers the Indiana side primarily. So he may be a new face to you guys, but he has been on the team for about, what's been like 9 months now? Over 9 months. It's been a while. So he's not new. He is not new. He is rock and rolling with us here. Let's go ahead and start with tomorrow's severe risk here. Let's go ahead and talk about the risk hazards for tonight as well. Per the SPC, today we still have a marginal risk in place from about Mount Pleasant to the Tri-Cities on southward to the borders of Indiana and Ohio. We do have ongoing showers and storms out there still. No severe weather in the state currently, but we do have a flood advisory now for portions of north central Genesee as well as central Lapeer County. Otherwise, a couple statements out there in blue boxes, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds out there currently. No storm currently is severe, although they are still exhibiting some signs of weak rotation. I don't really think they're going to go severe, honestly, anymore, unless something surprising happens. But later tonight, closer to the midnight time frame, we do have a threat as denoted here in the slight risk area, the yellow risk area to be exact, down here by Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Berrien County, Coldwater areas. Level 2 out of 5 there on the SPC. All hazards are possible within that slight risk zone. So here's damaging winds. According to SPC, is a 15 to 29% chance of damaging wind there. Elsewhere, it's a 5 to 14% chance in the brownish red color. 5% hail risk there across central South Michigan. And then last but not least, there is a threat here, a 2 to 4% chance of a tornado in the green colored areas. That is for tonight. Looking at the forecast, forecast model though, it's hard to say, but I will say this: the squall line we're watching off in Iowa is currently out there as we speak. Take a radar back here and kind of show you guys live radar. Look at all those severe warnings off to the west of us here. Illinois, Wisconsin, pushing out of Iowa now. That's heading our direction and will arrive roughly around the midnight time frame. The good news, as of right now, though, is the model depicts that it's going to weaken here. Here is about midnight tonight on the model. Got some pop-ups going on across southern Michigan here. But as this segment of storms pushes across Lake Michigan, the model says it dies out and kind of pushes further north, kind of breaks apart there. So that is a potential solution we could be looking at tonight. As these storms push across Lake Michigan, they're probably going to weaken some. The model says entirely weakens and we get no rain. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Regardless, we're going to have some instability out there. So if storms do arrive on that western shore around midnight or so, they will have potential to be strong or severe. So regardless of what radar and models say, as of right now, these summertime setups can be tricky and models sometimes can get things wrong. They do get things wrong a lot. So we're going to watch things very carefully. It is still a very, very healthy looking squall line off to the west currently that's pushing our way. We're going to watch that closely, but keep in mind models say not too much of a big deal tonight. We'll be live here regardless. Around midnight, expect storms if they're going to arrive around that midnight time frame in the western part of Michigan. Damaging winds, primary concern, followed by perhaps a large hailstone, and maybe, if there's enough shear instability out there, a brief tornado possible. I personally think the highest severe risk comes on Saturday, and that is because we have a bit more in the way of wind shear as well as instability. We have a slight risk in effect for pretty much the eastern half of the lower peninsula there in yellow. It's a level 2 out of 5. Elsewhere, If you're not in the Ironwood area, you're in a marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, in dark green colors. So pretty much the entire state tomorrow within a severe risk. Damaging wind is the primary concern. 15 to 29% chance of a damaging wind gust anywhere within yellow within a 25-mile point. So, for example, if you live in the Flint area, you have a 15 to 29% chance of a damaging wind gust happening within 25 miles of you. In the brownish color, it is a 5 to 14% chance, and that's, again, a 25-mile point. Going into the next hazard here, large hail is a blanketed 5 to 14% chance across, again, the entire state minus the Ironwood area. And then also tomorrow, the risk for a tornado is there, especially for the Thumb region, Tri-Cities on northward toward Alpena and the Tawas City area, anywhere in the dark green color there. If you're in the white color, the SPC has no risk. Well, technically, it is less than 2% risk for a tornado tomorrow. Now, let's look at the models here for tomorrow. There's a complex tonight. It weakens. Got some showers pushing through the northern part of the state. Southern part stays dry. We'll see if that is the case. Here comes the afternoon hours here on Saturday. Here's 11 a.m. and here is noon. Got a line forming from the Tri-Cities down toward about Jackson. Here's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Scattered storms popping up there on the eastern half of the state, but keep in mind we have some storms on the western half too. They don't look too mean, but they could still produce gusty winds as well as some small hail. The bigger storms, according to the latest models, happen on the east side of the state here. So this is 3 o'clock. Let's go to 4 o'clock p.m. Here is 5 p.m. And by about 6 p.m., the model says we're saying goodbye to most of those initial lines of storm there, but we also could have some pop-ups that do linger in certain areas of the state, from the UP on down toward Alpena, toward Manistee, and even Jackson. So perhaps multiple rounds, multiple pop-ups, but the main line pushes through from about noon to about that 6 p.m. time frame. The RFS model, another model we use, also shows similar picture to both tonight and tomorrow. So here is today's storms up there in the Thumb area. Got those pretty well handled. Here comes that complex. The complex does hold together a bit longer here on this model, but this model still says it weakens. As we move into the Saturday morning hours, we're dry. Here is Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pop-ups there across Jackson, Battle Creek area. Also a nasty-looking storm down here by the Michiana area, South Bend region. Also got some pop-ups up there in the UP to be concerned about too. Let's go to 4 p.m. Let's go to 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and there we go. A nice looking line of storms develops here on the RFS model tomorrow afternoon and evening. Also got some storms up there in the UP to be concerned about too. So again, models are still keying in afternoon hours tomorrow into the evening hours. The RFS model is just a tad bit slower and a bit more robust in nature with its response of storms. So regardless, the risk is in place tomorrow. I think it's well placed there. Better ingredients do overlap further east in the slight risk area from about noon to about, we're going to say 8 p.m. for your Saturday time frame. Mainly a damaging wind risk, small or large hail risk as well following, and then a low chance for a tornado, especially in the Thumb, Alpena regions up there in the eastern, northeastern part of the state. That is your rundown here, guys. And again, the main concern of how tomorrow plays out will depend on how tonight plays out. Will this complex blow through? Will it take out instability? Will it weaken? Will it not rain at all? Questions need to be answered between now and tomorrow morning. We just don't know the details just yet. But with how models are trending, this should weaken. And tomorrow we should build enough instability for a severe threat across much of the state, primarily, though, on the eastern half. All right. Any questions, guys? And Caleb, did I miss anything you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think you hit the nail on the head. Again, kind of two scenarios possible for tonight. Scenario number one, these storms do make it across the lake, and we could have perhaps a damaging wind risk early on this evening. Think between, or not early on this evening, but early on in this event, which would be about midnight through about 2 to 3 a.m. time frame, western portions of Michigan from Traverse City all the way down to Berrien County. Maybe some gusty winds, perhaps. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two, these storms weaken over Lake Michigan and don't really pose a threat at all to Michigan. Right now, models are kind of leaning towards scenario number two. I think we're going to see gradual weakening no matter what scenario we see here.
Yeah.
This storm complex is predicted, well agreed upon on all of our model guidance that we have available, that this complex will weaken before it reaches central portions of Michigan regardless. Best chance of rainfall, I think, is going to be across the UP and northern lower. This complex kind of breaks apart, pulls north. The rain on the northern side of our complex looks to be the more likely scenario. Could have some rain, maybe some embedded thunder. Can't be ruled out here, but severe weather. Overall, the risk tonight appears to be on the lower end, not zero. We can't rule out some damaging winds early, especially if this line or complex survives or makes it across the lake. That is a possibility, though it's not of high probability. It is possible, so it can't be ignored. Sometimes models like to downtrend these storm systems quicker than what they actually die out in real life. So that is something we're going to have to keep an eye on and watch here overnight tonight. Time frame tonight, midnight through about 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tomorrow afternoon, biggest uncertainty is where do storms first develop into, how strong are they going to get? And a lot of that will be determined by our storm complex tonight. As it moves across the state and dissipates, how much cloud cover or rain is left over into tomorrow morning. That'll kind of play a key role into how fast we destabilize tomorrow afternoon. The longer that storm system survives, the further east it goes with rain and cloud cover, the less time we have to destabilize tomorrow afternoon. Models are in pretty good agreement that this is going to break apart and we're going to have that destabilization component. We're going to have that daytime heating tomorrow ahead of our cold front. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. We're going to have ingredients in place for thunderstorm development. The greatest confidence is eastern Michigan. Think all the way up from the thumb all the way down. Highest tornado risk, northeast portions of Michigan. And a lot of that is because we're closer to a little bit more wind shear up there to work with. A little bit more better dynamics to work with up there. Tornado can't be ruled out across southeast Michigan. However, the threat is much, much lower the further south you go. Less wind shear. But biggest takeaway is storms tonight will affect storms tomorrow. And uncertainty lies in terms of timing, where those storms first pop up and develop, and how strong they become. Are they going to be scattered in nature, or are they going to congeal into a line of storms that progresses early afternoon into early evening time tomorrow? So a couple things to keep an eye on. Lots of the moving parts with this system. It's an evolving situation, so keep that in mind. Forecast is subject to change into tomorrow, depending on how storms in the atmosphere evolves overnight tonight into tomorrow. So do keep it here with us. We'll have an updated forecast package for you tomorrow morning, depending on how storms evolve here tonight into tomorrow. But damaging winds, primary risk. Secondary risk could be some hail, perhaps quarter to maybe $half size in those isolated updrafts. And then a brief tornado or two cannot be entirely ruled out, although that is the lower end of the risk tomorrow.
Also want to mention 11 a.m. tomorrow, we'll do a live briefing. I believe Joel's going to handle that. I might be on as well. So for an update, come back tomorrow for a live stream, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. We'll have a live update for you on how it looks and how it's playing out. Also,
Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
some new members. Got Lynn, EF1 member. Thank you, Lynn, for joining the team here. Also, Lynn gifting 5 memberships. So thank you, Lynn, for that. Welcome to the team, guys. Just got gifted. Also see Cindy with a super chat. Says thank you for all your updates. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Cindy. Longtime supporter of us here at the page. Also got Jess with a super chat. Says kayaking tomorrow in Shiawassee. Should we cancel? Depending on the time frame, if you go in the morning, you may be okay. But the later you get toward the afternoon hours, I would definitely keep an eye on the radar and make sure you have a. I wouldn't go too far from shelter, just because we do have multiple storms possible throughout the afternoon and evening time frames. So if you can do it in the morning, you should be okay. But afternoon, that's when your chances really start to increase for some strong storms there across Shiawassee area.
Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to hop in chat. We'll be hanging out with you here momentarily. Again, my name is Caleb. For those of you who don't know me, normally I am on the Indiana side of the border. I am south of the border, but helping out here tonight because Joel is unavailable here this evening, so I am stepping in. Many of you may remember me from the wintertime. Covered a lot of winter briefings here with Ryan. So
That we did.
you guys are blessed enough to get to see me here tonight. So you're welcome. Great to be with you here again. Been a minute. Always love hanging out with you.
See a lot of questions asking how bad it's going to get tomorrow, and that's really a general statement, general question. We really don't know because these storms are pretty localized and scattered in nature. So we could have areas tomorrow that don't even get a raindrop, honestly. But I do expect storm coverage tomorrow to be more so scattered to widespread. So I do expect numerous areas to at least have a chance of strong to severe weather. But really asking how bad it's going to be for specific areas, it's very hard to pin down. What we can tell you is general broad outlooks. That's how weather is. That's how forecasting is. We can't really pinpoint directly towns are going to be impacted. What I can tell you is the environment across the entire state is conducive for damaging winds, perhaps some large hail as well. On the east half, there in yellow, so like Ann Arbor, Detroit, Flint, Tri-Cities, Lansing, Alpena, those areas, there's a bit more wind shear there, a bit more stability as well because the timing of this turns out to be peak heating for that yellow area. We could have a few more robust storms within that yellow zone than we could in the green zone. That's why you see a yellow risk there in place. So we can't get specific. We can't really tell you how bad it's going to be. We can tell you there's a chance for bad storms. Yes, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, the main hazard. Large hail to a quarter size. Can't rule out a tornado, especially in the thumb region up toward Alpena. I'll go ahead and pop that on here per the SPC. That's your current risk for a tornado. Outside of that, it's less than 2%. So overall, low chance for anything tornadic. Damaging winds and hail should be the primary risk tomorrow, although we can't rule out, obviously, an isolated tornado, especially in the green zones.
Yep, tornado is probably the lower end of the spectrum, non-zero risk, but the risk is there. In terms of scenarios, there's really two scenarios that we see. Highest confidence is an area shaded in yellow. That's on the eastern half of Michigan. That's largely because of timing. Our frontal boundary will be coming through mid-afternoon. We have peak daytime heating. The atmosphere will be largely destabilized, or at least that's the current thinking. Current thinking could change. And for those of you wondering about severity, there's really two scenarios that appear likely at this time. One being scattered showers and thunderstorms, where we have isolated pop-ups along a line extending from Alpena all the way down to about Hillsdale, Jackson County, perhaps, where we have scattered showers and thunderstorms, about like what this model is. This is the app HRRR, high resolution rapid refresh. That's something that we use here. And this model projects kind of a line of scattered showers and thunderstorms that develop from about the thumb region down to about Hillsdale, Jackson County. In this scenario, pockets of isolated heavy downpours, lightning, small hail, gusty winds. The other model that we looked at was a little bit more robust, as I saw a couple comments in here reaching out. Now, take these models with a grain of salt. This model here happens to kind of beef
slower.
Storms up more often than not. It's also a little bit slower, but this model also projects a line of storms. It projects these storms kind of congeal and form a line or a squall line that moves across the state in that late afternoon time frame. This is a little bit slower. So two scenarios would be scenario number one, we see scattered showers and thunderstorms along a boundary that move across eastern Michigan that are scattered in nature. Scenario number two, we have a line of storms that form and move across most of lower Michigan and perhaps getting in to northern Michigan, think Alpena area as well. So a couple different scenarios. HRRR, that first model, comes through a little bit earlier. It's a faster solution. Storms form early, mid-afternoon, and they're out of here by dinner time. This model here, the rapid refresh that we see, the RFS, it's a slower solution, but also a more robust solution. It shows a strong line of storms that move through a little bit later into our dinner time and then out of here by that 10, 11 o'clock time frame. So a couple of different solutions here, and really the outcome won't fully be known until tomorrow afternoon. And that comes down to dynamics. What dynamics do we have actually set up? Summertime solutions are tricky, and that's because we don't have a cold front moving through. It's kind of think of it like the atmosphere is fluid. We have an active river above our heads at about 10 to 15,000 feet, and along this river, we have currents, and we have little ripples along that current. And if you're an active kayaker, you know this. If you're in the middle of the river, you have faster flow, and along the edges, you get little eddies that form as faster water meets friction with slower water. These little ripples are called short waves in the atmosphere, and just like the name implies, scientists are really smart when they come up with these names, by the way. Short waves, they're little short waves of instability in the atmosphere, and that's what we have here in the summertime. These little ripples create lift of instability, and we get our thunderstorms. So they're a little bit harder to predict because the cold front is a line of colder, drier air moving in behind it. You can predict that, you can time that out fairly well. Short waves are different. They evolve, they adapt, and different storms the day before can affect the atmosphere the day after. So there's so many moving parts that affect tomorrow. That's why we can't fully give you the exact solution that we're going to see tomorrow, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch trends, and we'll let you know in our morning update. Probably by about 11 to 12 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll have a lot better understanding as to what we're going to see. Are we going to see a line of storms? Are we going to see scattered storms? We'll have that information hopefully by tomorrow morning by our 11 o'clock briefing in the morning. So stick it here, and we'll have that for you. Either way, stay weather aware. It is Michigan in the summertime. Funny things can happen. We can have severe weather in the summertime, so always good to be severe weather aware. So hopefully you guys, I didn't lose you there in my meteorology 101 class there, but great to have you listening. So great to have you in class.
I see a couple questions in here about Sunday, and right now Sunday is looking like a drier day and no severe weather. The risk shifts off to the south,
day overall,
south and east of us. So Sunday should be a good day to get outside and enjoy the weather.
Yeah, absolutely. Do some fishing, do some hiking, biking, get out and enjoy it. Should be a little bit more pleasant too. A little bit lower humidity, not zero. It's still going to be humid, but not quite as atrocious as what we've had here over the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
Good beach day too. Head out to the beach if you're near the lake. Good beach day.
Any questions, guys, here in chat? Let me know. Let Caleb know. We'll be happy to answer those. I got radar pulled up here. I see some comments coming in about some rotation on radar. There's really not much I'm seeing on here. Looks like a couple areas, pockets of gusty winds, but nothing really that catches my eye. Perhaps a little bit gusty winds heading into the Washington Township, south of Romeo, that area. That looks like the looks like the most concerning area that I see on radar. So.
Yeah, I don't really see anything too concerning either. The biggest thing to point out on radar is a flood advisory for Genesee County and west central Lapeer County for another 2 hours and 40 minutes. Heavy showers and thunderstorms dumped between 2 and 4 inches of rain in this area over the past couple of hours. And although the rain has stopped mainly in north central Genesee County, could still have some residual water on area waterways there. That green box there that you see shaded on your screen for the Mount Morris area, all the way over there's that heavy swath of rain that you see there on your screen. The heaviest amount south of Otisville and east central Genesee County into Lapeer County. Pretty heavy rainfall there, only about 5 miles wide, and not very wide swath of heavy rain, but you go from having just a couple tenths of rainfall to anywhere north of 2 to 3 inches of rain. So it doesn't take long to get into some excessive rainfall. Ditches may still be full. Takes some time for water to drain when you get heavy rainfall amounts of 2 inches per hour in less than an hour in some of these locations. So do be mindful, especially on rural roads where they have poor drainage or low-lying areas. Do watch out for any ponding that may still be on the roadways. And that's also a hazard as we go into the day tomorrow. The Weather Prediction Center has a marginal risk for excessive rainfall. That's a 1 out of 4 in place for a good portion of Michigan.
Caleb, we're in severe ups.
We have a severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued for Genesee County,
all right,
southern
guys,
Lapeer County. So we'll go ahead and cover this here while we're live.
We're going to switch off. So we're going to switch off briefing to severe mode. Well, I'll grab the
This is one for, quarter size hail, 60 mile per hour winds here for 53 minutes here. And this would be for the storm that's currently in southeastern Genesee County near Grand Blanc, moving southeast.
All right, we're going to switch operations here from our briefing to severe ops. And looking at the last couple of scans, that really has increased in intensity. A little bit of a downburst going on there. I can see why they
strongest winds right along the Grand Blanc area in southeast Genesee County, extreme southeast Genesee County.
Yep, this is actually
where the strongest winds are.
This is actually right by our Burton camera. So I'm going to pull that up here.
Yeah, nice thunderhead on the Burton camera right now.
Perfect. I'll have that live for you guys here in just 2 seconds.
For those of you wondering, I'll be getting that severe weather graphic posted on the page. You guys can see the warning in detail there here in a couple seconds.
All right, let's get this loaded in.
So you guys are privileged to hang out with us a little bit longer here this evening.
There we go.
It's always a good thing. All right.
Perfect. All right, this warning is in effect, as Caleb mentioned, for northern Genesee, southern Lapeer, and southeastern Genesee, southern Lapeer, and as well as northern Oakland counties. 60 mile per hour winds and quarter size hail is the going hazard there.
Yep, strongest portion of the storm would be near Grand Blanc. That's where the gustiest winds are with this storm, at least via radar. Not saying it couldn't be gusty, just north of there, south of the Davidson area, but the strongest winds appear to be near Grand Blanc, moving off to the east-southeast. So probably going to impact extreme portions of southwest Lapeer County. I think areas Hadley and south, and then coming near the Ortonville area over the next, probably 15, 20 minutes or so in northern Oakland County. This storm is not moving very fast, moving east at about 40 miles per hour. You could see a southeastward shift with this storm as well as it gusts out. That outflow boundary can push south away from the storm, so I have to keep an eye on that as well. There's a live look at our Burton camera there just south of the storm. Or I guess just on the north side of the storm here, rather. The strongest storm is on the south side of this camera.
Yep, we're looking south here.
Yep, so you're looking on the back side of the storm here. Nice cumulonimbus cloud there. See some little bit of scud on the south side of the storm. Those white puffy clouds just above the road, east of the pine tree there.
We are going to update a few things here because we're now from a briefing to severe. So we got to change all the wording and the titles and the thumbnails and doing a lot of
back end work that goes into it.
Yep.
So Ryan does that. I'll keep talking here. I apologize in advance.
You got your radar live?
That's okay. I do, yeah. You can go ahead and
perfect
pull it up. So we'll walk you through here on radar. Here's a live look. Again, strongest winds right in here, right along and just south of the Grand Blanc area. Extreme southeast Genesee County. Going to move, I just barely glanced Lapeer County. So if you're in Lapeer, areas northward, you guys are okay from this severe thunderstorm warning. Strongest winds are well off to your south and west. The storm that's currently warned, it's still in Genesee County, extreme southeast Genesee County. Flint, you're in the clear. Flushing, Mount Morris, Otisville, you guys are all A-OK. It's likely sunny there currently in the Mount Morris area, at least via our Burton camera. Sun's coming back out. Might get a rainbow out of this cell as well. Getting into that rainbow time of the evening where a sun angle is low, hitting the backside of these storms. Could get a really nice rainbow on some of these. So be on the lookout for those. If you guys are ahead of the storm, though, be prepared for some gusty winds coming into Ortonville, northern Oakland County. Could get in on some gusty winds, perhaps 60 miles per hour. This is warned for hail. Quarter-size hail is also within this warning here. Go ahead and turn up a product called VIL, which essentially shows our updraft in the thunderstorm. It's a little bit behind. This is a little bit just on the south side of Atlas, right where you see the pinks in Genesee County near Goodrich. Could have perhaps maybe some small hail. I don't know if I would say quarters are quite reaching the ground based on what I'm seeing here, but you could have definitely some penny-size hail for sure within this storm, which is 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But a few quarters can't be ruled out. But I say wind is probably the greatest hazard here with this storm based on what I'm seeing on radar. Extreme southeast Genesee County, gust front coming into Goodrich right about now, M15. Getting ready to cross, looks like Gale Road here in extreme southeast Genesee County. Going to be coming in the Ortonville area here pretty soon. We'll go ahead and time it out here for you as we draw a line here. Well, that's the wrong tool. We don't want to measure that. Here we go. Go ahead and time it out for you. Moving east-southeast to 40 miles per hour. So we got Ortonville in about 10 minutes, likely a little bit less, 9 minutes. We got Perry Lake Heights in about 13 minutes. Probably plan on about 10 minutes there for you guys, just to give you guys a little bit of time here for that storm as well. So about 9 to 10 minutes out from Ortonville. 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail associated with this. This is in southeast Genesee County. Going to be moving into extreme portions of northern Oakland County and extreme portions of southwest Lapeer County. Kind of going to go right through the Tri-County area there in this portion. Looking around the region, no other severe thunderstorm warnings. This one just kind of intensified over the last few minutes here, which prompted the warning. Good call by the Detroit office there. Special weather statement for northern Lapeer County, or I guess north central Lapeer County, over by the Capic area.
KPAC
does expire here in 2 minutes. Thank you, Ryan. Apologies there. I am from Indiana, so if I mispronounce something, I apologize. We have weird names too in Indiana, so
let's not talk about Indiana.
Currently, our storm with an attitude is in southern Genesee County, southeast Genesee County. Grand Blanc, you guys are okay. Strongest winds east of I-75 right now. Gonna kind of move along I-75 and north. Moving towards the M15 corridor, towards Ortonville right now. Strongest winds just to the south of Atlas. couple lightning strikes in here too. Some cloud to ground lightning occurring with the storm as well. So do be mindful of that. One strike, you're out with lightning, unfortunately. So that's something these storms have really been good at producing today are shelf clouds on the leading edge of these thunderstorms. Very low cloud basis today. What's that?
Looks like we got Tyler coming in near K-Pack with a shelf cloud. Let me post on the page here momentarily. It's a beautiful shelf cloud. I'm going to get that up on the page here.
Shelf clouds are always one of my favorite clouds to personally look at. They just look very cool, ominous, and the motions on them. You can really get a good idea for the physics at play in front of a thunderstorm with a shelf cloud. Warm, moist air rising into the cloud with cold, rain-cooled air coming down on the backside, giving it its shelf appearance. Kind of looks like a wall that's moving at you with rising motion on the leading edge of that as that warm air is being pulled up into the storm. Very cool clouds to look at, but also need to be taken with caution. Usually a sign is you could have some gusty winds on the backside of that shelf cloud and do be need to be heated as well. So, and that's something these storms have been prolific at producing today. They've been really good at producing shelf clouds here today. We have really low cloud basis today and really high moisture profiles. Combine that with a gusty thunderstorm and you get a really low, ominous looking shelf cloud, which we've had a lot of today. A lot of low hanging clouds here today as well. Those are scud clouds, or sometimes we refer to them as SLCs, scary looking clouds. Have a lot of those out there today. Those are clouds that make you look twice. But more often than not, they are scud clouds and not tornadic in nature. They are nothing more than moisture, which is condensed into a cloud rising up into the storm above. But they are pretty cool to look at as well. Sometimes they can kind of dance around or sway back and forth, but they are harmless. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for 44 more minutes, so quite a long warning here. We'll have to see if the storm makes it through the entirety of the warning or if it gets allowed to be canceled early. Hopefully, the storm weakens. These severe thunderstorms here today, we've had two of them. This is our second severe thunderstorm warning here today. Thankfully, they've been more sporadic in nature, and they have been weakening fairly quickly within their life cycle. So hopefully we see that here, but still has a decent gust front on the leading edge of the storm. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, moving east at 40 miles an hour, and I have to say it's moving a little more southeast as well. At least our gust front is with this storm, kind of hanging around the southern edge of that storm, right on the Oakland-Genesee County line, and getting into the very edge of Lapeer County, right in the corner, south of Hadley. Hadley getting in some heavy rain right now, but the strongest winds are to your south and west. Elizabeth says it's raining extremely hard in Goodrich. Yeah, I believe that. Rainfall rates within the core of these storms have been exceeding 2 inches per hour in places. So very heavy rainfall rates, fat raindrops as well. I think Florida. That's kind of the conditions that we have here today with high moisture profiles, heat and humidity. You get Florida-like rain today. So watch out for ponding on the roadways as well. We do have that flood advisory for north central Genesee County, east central Lapeer County for another 2.5 hours or so. Rainfall amounts early this afternoon, 2 to 4 inches of rain, even getting upwards of 4.25. Radar estimated south of the Otisville area and east central Genesee County. Could have some residual ponding on area roadways. Do keep that in mind. A lot of times when you get rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches an hour, drains have a hard time keeping up, especially in viaducts, under overpasses, railroad trestles. Those drains have a hard time keeping up when you have a massive rush of water all at once filling in those low-lying areas. So do keep that in mind if you're driving under any bridges, overpasses, or viaducts. Do watch out for ponding water underneath those structures.
For reference, Grand Blanc is on the back edge of this storm, so you'll be good here in a few minutes. I see a lot of questions here for Grand Blanc. You guys will be fine in about like 5 or 10 minutes or so. The worst of it looks to be off to your south as it moves toward Ortonville in the northern part of Oakland County, as well as the Atlas area. Perhaps some gusty winds up that way as well. But Grand Blanc on the backside, it's only going to get better from here.
Yep, heavy rain lingering here behind this thunderstorm, but on the backside of it, not really seeing any winds on radar. Just some big fat raindrops and maybe some lightning in there as well. So do be cautious going outside after the storm. Lightning can still strike. Lightning can strike up to 10 plus miles away from a thunderstorm. So do keep that in mind. And something else to kind of look at, kind of seeing some broad rotation near the Dryden area. This is in eastern Lapeer County, southeast Lapeer County. Not warned, not super tight, but it is there nonetheless. It'd be for this storm right here. Kind of see a little bit of a hook on it. Rotation just to the east of Dryden, right about in here in this rain-free area. Might be interacting with an outflow boundary and also kind of interacting with a shower off to the south, and maybe a little bit of a merger going on near the Almont area, M53 corridor. And just south of Dryden Road, area of rotation right in here. This is called a couplet, where greens are going toward the radar and reds are going away from the radar. So we have winds going this way and this way. And there's our counterclockwise rotation right in there. Whenever you see those colors holding hands like a railway couplet, that's kind of where it gets its name. They're holding hands. That's where inbounds and outbounds are gate to gate. That is our area of rotation. Broad at this point in time, but it is a supercell nonetheless, so needs to be keeping an eye on. And a low-level supercell as well. We call those low-top supercells. Typically, the rotation is very shallow, but can also spin up and dissipate very quickly as well. So needs to be watched closely. Here comes our radar beam. Get another look at it here as it comes around. And just like that, like I said, they spin up quickly, they dissipate quickly, and that rotation has broadened out quite a bit. Could be there. The radar beam could be overshooting the area of rotation as well. They're very shallow in nature. So sometimes when you get these low top setups, the radar beam can actually overtop the area of rotation. We call that under the radar. It can be kind of hiding under there. So needs to be watched there, southeast Lapeer County, but nothing imminent at this point in time, at least tornadic-wise. So that's some good news. Gusty winds appear to be broadening out a little bit as it enters northern Oakland County. That's some good news there coming into Ortonville. Still gusty, still have a severe thunderstorm warning in place, so treat it as such. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. If you are in Genesee County, or at least the Grand Blanc area and surrounding areas, Atlas, Grand Blanc, you guys are okay. The worst of it is off to your south and southeast. Hadley, you guys are okay as well. Lapeer, you guys are okay. Getting some rain right now, but the severe warning storm is well off to your south and southwest. Really, the worst part of this storm is, in terms of Lapeer County, is really just the corner. Based on what we're seeing on radar. If you're not in like extreme portions of southwest Lapeer County, you guys are okay. I know your phones went off and everything else, but the worst of it is Hadley and south and southwest. But looks to be calming down a little bit, at least based on radar trends over the past few minutes or so. With some good news, if you hit play here, you kind of see the evolution of this storm here, this gust front. Likely a downburst occurred near Grand Blanc in areas just to the south and south of Atlas as well in Genesee County. This prompted the severe weather warning. As it's moving now into northern Oakland County and extreme portions of southwest Lapeer County, you can kind of see those colors broaden out. They're not quite as bright anymore as what we saw in southern Genesee County. So this storm is kind of weakening a little bit. But these storms quickly weaken, quickly intensify. They're called like popcorn or pulse storms. Pulse is kind of a rambunctious term, meaning they quickly intensify and then also kind of quickly calm down a little bit as well. So that's kind of the trend we've had here today and really throughout most of east central Michigan here today. Kind of pulse storms. Heavy rain is the main hazard, though, with any of these thunderstorms, with the occasional gusty wind.
Caleb,
a land spout can't be ruled out either.
Caleb, I want to turn attention very briefly. I believe Davenport, Iowa. If anybody has family or friends in Davenport, Iowa, there is a ongoing flash flood emergency in effect for portions of Davenport. I'm talking to one of our Indiana guys who was also in the streaming business. His, I guess, building he's in. Yeah, his building he is in is currently flooding and he is evacuating. So if anybody has friends or family or just loved ones in that Davenport area, get in touch with them. Make sure they're aware there is a flash flood emergency ongoing there, potentially catastrophic flooding for Davenport, Iowa. I know it's not Michigan, but we always want to keep other areas in mind as well because we have a lot of reach here. So I'm sure somebody here watching has friends or family who live in the area. So
yeah, and that really goes all of these areas from Mount Pleasant, Iowa, up to Davenport, Iowa. Notice how this squall line is moving more northeast than it is east. All these are called training showers and thunderstorms, and just like a railway train where you have cars moving over the same tracks, we have thunderstorms moving over the same areas. One thunderstorm ends and another one moves in, and this creates a very dangerous flash flood scenario here, not just for Davenport. Urban areas are at higher risk, especially as you have a lot of asphalt, have a lot of concrete, and poor drainage areas. So we do have a flood watch in effect for a lot of this area, but this is a catastrophic tag. Flash flood emergency is the highest level of a flood warning that you can get in terms of flash flooding. So have any friends in Davenport, Iowa, or surrounding areas, might not hurt to get in touch with them and make sure they are okay. Back to Michigan, we don't have a flash flood emergency. We do have a flood advisory for some heavy rain that has fallen across north central Genesee County and east central Lapeer County over the past couple of hours. Though no rain is falling, well, with the exception of Lapeer County, water should be starting to drain here in these areas. But we did have a nice heavy swath of up to 4 inches of rain that has fallen. As I go ahead and turn that on here, I'll show you. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go rain total. It may just be too old of data. But within that green box there, upwards of 2 to 4 inches of rain fell earlier here this afternoon. Back to our velocity here. Still some gusty winds, perhaps in northern Oakland County, but appears to not be quite as strong as what it once was. Would you agree with that, Ryan? Or
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Looking on the radar here, it's definitely a little weaker. I would still suggest probably some gusty winds, 30 to 40. Looks like they just trimmed out the Genesee County from that warning. Continued it for northern Oakland and southern Lapeer, but still 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail on the latest update. But definitely on the latest scan, velocity has weakened to a point where it does not appear to be severe, but likely pretty gusty regardless.
Yeah, I'd agree. So Genesee County no longer in the severe thunderstorm warning. Does still in effect for Lapeer County and northern Oakland County. Looks like for another 34 minutes here. We'll have to see if they let this go to expire or if they cancel it early. Hopefully we see the storm weaken well below severe criterion. We're allowed to see this get canceled. But for right now, still some gusty winds entering southwest Lapeer County and northern Oakland County near Ortonville, south of Hadley. Getting in on some gusty winds right in this area here is where the strongest winds appear to be. Could have some gusty winds up in this area in south central Lapeer County, but the strongest winds appear to be off to the south and southwest. Some lightning also showing up here on radar. These are cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So there is some lightning occurring in these thunderstorms. Lightning does not make a storm severe, but it is a hazard in and of itself. One strike, you're out, is what we like to tell people. Don't always get a second chance with lightning. So, very powerful stuff.
We'll say latest scan does have a little bit more of some heightened velocity. Looks like 35 to 40, basically on the county line of Lapeer, Oakland, and Genesee there. Looks like on the 740 scan. Looks like
maybe a downburst ongoing. Have some wind going northbound and wind going southbound here. So maybe a downburst occurred in this area here, which is propagating winds outward and away from the storm. So that could be what we're seeing here, perhaps. Have those heightened velocities to the north and the south, where you have winds going in opposite direction, not rotation. This is not winds going at each other. This is winds going away from each other. So this would be a microburst or a downburst, perhaps, within this thunderstorm as well.
This warning's in effect for another 32 minutes. Puts us roughly around the 8:15 time frame.
And this is just for northern Oakland County and southern Lapeer County. For reference here, for those of you just joining in. For another 32 minutes here. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds are the going hazard here. Strongest winds appear to be in extreme southwest Lapeer County and northern Oakland County near M15. That's what we're looking at here. Across the region, have some other heavier downpours occurring. Across the thumb region of Michigan. This is our only severe thunderstorm at this point in time. Gusty winds coming into Ortonville right now, right along M15 and moving south. Just to the east-northeast of Holly. Holly not in a severe thunderstorm warning box, but you don't have to go too far north to be included in that box. Strongest winds right about in here is where we're at. And we are very close to the radar here, so we're getting very good sampling here of the storm. What we're seeing is just a couple hundred feet off the ground. So getting a nice look here.
A lot of good pictures coming in tonight from these storms from you guys. A lot of good structure. I can't say good. A lot of cool looking structure.
Yeah, we have scary looking clouds, but we also have cool looking clouds. So we have those CLCs out there as well. Unofficial term there.
I got permission on a very, very cool looking, it appears to be a wall cloud of some sort, but I believe it's a shelf. Well, actually, I think this is a wall. Yeah, this is a wall cloud.
Yeah, we have had a few of these showers have tried to exhibit some weak broad rotation at times here today. No confirmed tornadoes yet, but we have had some unconfirmed funnel cloud reports. We had one near the Detroit area earlier. Storm report came through of a brief funnel cloud, so not ruled out here today, but the tornado threat today is quite low at this time. Kind of a surface boundary, which is what's firing these storms today, this afternoon, across southeast lower Michigan and the Thumb region. Notice these storms haven't really tracked too far north or south of the boundary. They've been hanging around this boundary most of the afternoon, with a few storms over by the Grand Rapids areas north earlier today around Mount Pleasant, and they have now shifted off to the east, but not really moving too far south. And that is thanks to our surface boundary, which was left over by our storms and rain that moved through earlier this morning. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for another 28 minutes here. Southern Lapeer County, northern Oakland County, quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Strongest winds appear to be near Ortonville right about now. Coming into Brandon Gardens, we got Perry Lake Heights here as well, just north of the DTX office here in White Lake. This is the Weather Forecasting Office, WFO, of Detroit, southeast lower Michigan. They are located in White Lake in Oakland County. So we're getting a pretty good look here at the storm. The radar height is only a couple hundred feet off the ground at this location. So we're getting a pretty good look here at this storm. The radar velocities that we see here are just a few hundred feet off the ground. So we're getting a pretty good idea of what is going on near the surface here within this cell. Giving better confidence to the meteorologists and radar operators at DTX as well when we have storms in close vicinity to the radar. Get a better cross-section, get a better look inside the storms.
Still looks a little gusty there. Not overly gusty, but just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing significant, but strong nonetheless near Ortonville. Not saying these winds are not severe. We do still have that severe thunderstorm warning in place, but I don't think these winds are going to be upwards of 60 plus miles per hour, definitely up to 60 miles per hour. Between that probably 45 to 60 range is where we're at right now. Strongest winds near Ortonville, at least based on radar, where you have the brightest reflectivity at this point in time, just to the north of Brandon Gardens. This is in northern Oakland County and extreme southern Lapeer County at this point in time. Storm moving off to the east-southeast at about 40 miles per hour, 40.
Thank you, Jane, for becoming a member here at MSC YouTube. Appreciate your support. Welcome to the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you to Pam for giving us permission to share an epic wall cloud. It is now posted up on the page. You can find it on Facebook, X, Instagram, and on Threads.
Yeah, really picturesque shot there. I just looked at it for the first time. Yeah, very pretty.
We got chasers out in the field on these storms as well. I got Tyler up in the northern part of Lapeer County, and I'm trying to find Mike here. Last update I had on Mike, he was in Waterford Township area. Excuse me, which is just south of the storm. Thank you, Sarah, for the super chat. $2 says thanks for all the work once again, guys. Appreciate your support, Sarah. It is our pleasure to do this. We love doing this.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a lot of questions in chat here for the Three Rivers area. A lot of other places being mentioned. I'll take back my radar here, Caleb, just a brief second. Actually, I'm on the Burton camera still. Let's go ahead and flip this back to radar. There is nothing in the state minus what's happening currently up here in the Detroit Metro North region. We talked about this at the start of this stream before we went live into severe coverage. We are watching storms off to the west, which could push across the lake here and arrive around midnight. Although, Caleb, I'm going to say this line does look to be traversing quicker than modeled. So we may be an hour or two ahead of schedule here. So I'm going to say, to be safe, after 10 p.m., likely about 11 to midnight or so, this line could arrive. Most models do show this line weakening before it does anything to the west side of Michigan. So if that is the case, the risk for severe weather tonight is on the lower end of things, but it's still a risk. We're going to watch nonetheless. Prepare West Michigan. There is a slight risk for severe weather in place. Right about this location here, these areas, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo areas, those have the highest concern for some damaging winds tonight, perhaps some large hail, and maybe, if everything goes correctly or incorrectly, a brief tornado.
Yeah, and that's often the case when you get a mature storm complex like this. It often does pick up speed. As it develops something on the north side, kind of see how it looks like a backward comma head. That's because this storm has a localized area of low pressure, like its own mini storm system. It's called an MCV, mesoscale convective vortex, is kind of what the fancy term is for that. And that's what forms that backward comma head. But as that area of low pressure begins to spin, it can enhance the wind fields around this storm. It can actually help propagate it forward much faster. It can help push on the gas pedal, so to speak, a little bit and propagate the storm complex forward a little bit faster than what models project. So something we're keeping an eye on as well. There's always a chance that it can make it across the lake and bring in some gusty winds later tonight. But we're going to have to watch to see how that evolves overnight here this evening. Look at the Burton camp. This is looking at our severe thunderstorm warning off to the south. Kind of see the back end of the storm there, kind of layered a little bit, stacked, kind of a pretty unique view there. A little bit of the cumulonimbus clouds there. Our side view of it. Elsewhere across the state, we're sunny. Have some alto cumulus there, some cumulus. Very, very pretty evening here. Sunset alert for the western half of Michigan with that alto cumulus and a little bit of dust in the air. Probably going to have a nice, beautiful orange sunset across a lot of the state here this evening. So for sunset lovers, go check it out.
We're going to probably have some storms here on the Lake Orion camera coming into view in the next probably 10 minutes. Although I remember saying this like 2 days ago, and literally 10 minutes later, the storms just collapsed themselves and we didn't see anything. So maybe we have some views coming into Lake Orion here soon. But in the meantime, I'll take back Caleb's radar and we'll go back into the severe storm here in the northern part of Oakland County. That warning
a little bit brighter colors now on velocity near Ortonville. Gusty winds may still be ongoing here.
Perhaps a bit of a downburst going on, Caleb. Maybe look at the appendage there to the south and west of Ortonville on the latest scan. I got the 51 scan, actually. I'm 3 minutes behind, but perhaps a downburst going on there. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Have some winds going away from the radar. Not really any signs of rotation, but perhaps a downburst ongoing there. Heavy rain regardless in Ortonville. A very heavy rain. Get another look here. Yeah, possible downburst ongoing there. Have winds going away from the radar and rains going towards from the radar. They're kind of split, going in opposite directions away from each other. Not toward each other, not indication of rotation or anything like that. These winds are going away from each other or parallel to each other. It's a good sign of a downburst. So gusty winds, and the strongest winds appear to be solely now in Oakland County. Extreme portions of Lapeer County, perhaps Lapeer Oakland County line, just south of the Kerr Hill area, just north of Oakwood, east or west of the Thomas area, M24. But the strongest winds appear to be moving into Oakland County. Not a lot of lightning in this storm anymore either. A lot of lightning that occurred up in Genesee County. Some lightning strikes in southeast Lapeer County, but not a lot in Oakland County, at least cloud-to-ground lightning at this current time. Probably some intercloud lightning higher up in the clouds. Probably still hear some rumble of thunder. This is our only severe thunderstorm warning in the state of Michigan. In effect for another 20 minutes here. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Strongest winds appear to be in Oakland County, northern Oakland County, north of White Lake near Oxford Township, west of M24 near M15. Heavy rainfall rates ongoing here, probably in excess of 1.5 to 2 inches per hour, perhaps in the cores. Fat raindrops, so do watch out for ponding and excessive rainfall on area roadways. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to drop them in chat. Try to get them answered here for you here this evening. Great hanging out with you.
We got Mike back on the chase here. I don't know exactly his location. I do have his last location somewhere on 75. Looking by the view that he has, I'm going to assume he's running parallel just to the south of the storm. Probably somewhere near Independence or Clarkston, if I had to guess. Looks like they just dropped the severe. The bar just went back to all clear mode. So we'll see if that pops off our screen.
Yeah, see if we get a special weather statement or if they drop that entirely. Have to see here. See a question in here about lightning. Yeah, Scott. So that's called intercloud lightning, which is cloud-to-cloud lightning. Well, you have cloud-to-cloud lightning or CC lightning, or you have intercloud lightning, icy lightning. Those are fancy terms for lightning that is up in the clouds that are not in the ground. And sometimes on a cool, clear summer night, you can see that lightning in a severe thunder, or not a severe thunderstorm, but just a general thunderstorm miles away from your location. But you can't hear the thunder because it is too far away for sound to make it to your location. Heat lightning is kind of the layman term for it. Though heat does not cause the lightning, it is caused by an updraft and particle collision within that thunderstorm. It's just too far away to be heard at your location, but you can still see the lightning because light travels much farther and much faster than sound. So intercloud lightning, icy lightning. A good way to remember intercloud lightning is icy lightning. I can see the lightning, but I can't hear the lightning. A good way to remember that. But we are back in all clear mode. Our severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to cancel. Still perhaps some gusty winds near Oxford Township, just southeast of Ortonville in Oakland County, but they have dropped below severe criteria. So that is some good news here in southeast lower Michigan. Heavy downpours ongoing, some lightning as well. So do be cautious on the roadways. Could have some ponding on area roadways as these storms are not moving very fast. Moving pretty slow off to the east-southeast. Thanks, Allison. Now that song is stuck in my head. I appreciate that. I'm going to be humming that all night.
Well, Caleb, we are back in all clear mode for now, at least.
Yeah, I don't really see any other storms that are of concern at this point in time, which is good. Heavy rain, maybe some brief gusty winds in some of the cores, but they all appear to be below severe criteria, and none appear to be strengthening at this point in time. That could change as we go throughout the evening, but we're also going to be losing daytime heating. And on this side of Michigan, we don't have as much forcing as what we have in Illinois and Iowa, where our storm complex is right now. Ooh, take up the Manistee camera In the cirrus cloud, we actually have a sun halo right now. Sunset lovers, pretty cool on the Manistee camera. There you go. On the top of your screen, you kind of see that halo there. A nice sun halo there on your screen. Kind of hard to see. There you go. You can see that arc there above the sun. It's a 180-degree halo. You can see that there. And very, very cool to see.
Let's check around, see what else is on here. I wonder if we have another view of that somewhere. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it kind of depends on where you're at. This is right on the lakeshore. These are cirrus clouds, which are clouds produced on the anvils of our storm complex, currently in Iowa, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, being blown out ahead of the storm across the lake. Thin cirrus clouds are composed of ice crystals. Depending on how those ice crystals are oriented, if they're columns, if they're plated, depending on the structure of those ice crystals, they can refract the sunlight, giving us our sun halo. Sometimes you get sundogs and other anomalies within refraction as well. Makes for a very scenic look over the lake in Manistee. Very cool look. Sun halos are always fun to look at. The moon can also produce halos as well. We have a full moon right now. It was a full moon yesterday. Still full tonight. Very full. If you have any high-level cirrus clouds, could possibly get a halo out of that tonight. Thanks to ice crystals. It's very cold up there where those cirrus clouds are. Oftentimes, temperatures can be minus 30, minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit at about 30 to 40,000 feet. So very cold. No person could survive up there. Limited oxygen as well. But because of those cold temperatures, water droplets are ice crystals.
As always,
so
thank
you. Cool
you.
Thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's just cool to look at.
As always, thank you to the Hampton Inn here in Manistee for hosting this camera, and Guardian for sponsoring the camera and installing it for us. Appreciate them and their support.
Absolutely. Beachgoers there getting a special treat. May not see a super orange sunset there because of the clouds, but they do see a very beautiful halo. Cool to see nonetheless.
All right. Caleb, I think we need to get back to our briefing here. We have a second, at least.
Yeah, sorry we had to take a detour there, but severe weather always takes priority over severe weather briefings. But back to our severe weather briefing, for those of you just joining in, go ahead and we are currently watching a storm complex. Go ahead and take my radar back. Across Wisconsin, Illinois, this big storm complex, which is called an MCS, mesoscale convective complex, fancy term for a big glob of rain with a squall line on the leading edge. Area of low pressure sitting right up here in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, creating this comma head effect. This has allowed this storm complex to pick up forward motion a little bit, picked up speed a little bit. This complex is going to move across Lake Michigan later on tonight. We could see the rain start to reach the western shores from, let's say, Traverse City, Manistee, Muskegon, Berrien County, perhaps around the 10 p.m. at the earliest, perhaps around the 10 to midnight time frame here tonight. Some model guidance suggests that the storm complex will weaken before reaching our shores. However, there is also a chance that some gusty showers do make it across with a low-end severe weather risk tonight for damaging winds. And if it maintains its strength and intensity, winds to 60 miles per hour and or an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. We do have some vorticity, especially near the area of low pressure near Madison, Wisconsin. As this moves across the lake, could bring some low-level spin across the area as well. All that depends on the intensity and maturity of these storms as they move across the lake. So scenario number one, these storms make it across the lake, could have some gusty showers early, but they do weaken before we're reaching the Mount Pleasant and Lansing area and Jackson, Central Michigan. Probably not going to see a lot of rain tonight. This storm complex is just not looking favorable to make it to your area. This area of rain here across central Wisconsin, north of Madison, is looking to hold together. Your best shot of rain here tonight, north of Mount Pleasant into the UP around the Marquette area, Escanaba area, Manistee area, could get in on some rain as well.
Okay, I got my
area south of that.
Sorry.
Yeah, Ryan's going to go through models here with you to kind of show you what I was talking about here as the storm complex evolves and the evolution thereof. So Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, looking at the models versus where this complex currently is, I'm going to say about an hour or two behind on the models. So at 9 o'clock, the model says this complex is somewhere in central Wisconsin, Illinois area. The complex is already in central Wisconsin, Illinois. It's 8 o'clock here. So this is about an hour behind. So we're going to bump up our expectations an hour here, say about 11 o'clock or so. Expect arrival around that time frame. The latest model does suggest that we could have some storms arriving there close to Ludington, Ottawa County there. They do weaken versus what's happening currently across Illinois, but it could be enough to produce an isolated, strong or severe storm there around that, again, midnight time frame ish. So we'll be up, we'll be watching it, we'll be live if need be around that time frame. Damaging winds, primary concern, large hail, secondary concern. Cannot rule out a brief tornado, especially west of US 131 and south of Ludington. For those asking about the risk areas, this is what happens tonight. The slight risk is in effect for basically Grand Rapids over toward the Lansing area. Not quite the Lansing. You can kind of see it off to the west there through Eaton County, down through Battle Creek, down through about Coldwater, and then points westward. And the marginal risk was more so for pop-up storms today. The slight risk is more so for that complex as it pushes our direction later on this evening. Tomorrow's risk shifts statewide, but primary risk is shifting to the east. It's going to come down to how tonight plays out, because a slower solution means a further west risk. A faster solution means a further east risk. If it slows down, we could have a more robust setup. If it speeds up, eastern half of the state in for some potential strong or severe storms tomorrow. Damaging winds, large hail, primary concerns tomorrow. Cannot rule out a tornado, especially further north in the Thumb region, as well as the Alpena region. Think northeast and perhaps central east Michigan. All right, that is your briefing here tonight. There is going to be another briefing tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's our second time we went over tonight and also tomorrow. So any questions, feel free to pop them in chat. See a question here if we're gonna get upgraded tomorrow. I would say it's highly unlikely. I don't think we have enough organization in these storms to really push for the enhanced risk per the SPC.
Really enough time either.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Obviously, it's summertime. Weirder things have happened, so we can't say, yeah, it's not going to happen. But the odds are definitely stacked well against an upgrade for us.
Yeah, really two scenarios tomorrow. Scenario number one, storms stay loosely organized. They're scattered from Alpena all the way down to Jackson, Hillsdale County. Scenario number two, we get a slower solution, like some guidance suggests, and we get these storms to grow upscale into a line or a complex, perhaps, across Michigan. This will be a stronger solution. This would give us more of a line, like this model suggests. This would be a kind of a more widespread severe weather event in terms of damaging winds. Anytime you get a congealment of storms into a storm complex or a line, the damaging wind risk thereof goes up. So that's one scenario. But I think the most favored scenario, Ryan, would be the scattered solution from Alpena all the way down to Jackson County. Maybe some storm, maybe some multi-clusters or some clusters of storms that kind of congeal together in little individual Boeing segments, perhaps tomorrow. But ultimately, we won't really fully know until tomorrow morning. The storms tonight will affect the environment tomorrow, and how these storms persist will affect how much time we have for destabilization, any boundaries that are left over, like the one left over from this morning's storms, which are causing storms in southeast Michigan right now. We're going to have to watch those things tomorrow morning and overnight tonight. And the evolution of the atmosphere tonight thereof will affect storm mode tomorrow. Greatest confidence, though, eastern Michigan, Alpena down to Jackson. That'll be our greatest confidence of area to see widespread thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong to severe. But I think greatest confidence right now is eastern Michigan and southeast Michigan. That could change, could evolve, depending on the timing. But right now, models have a pretty good agreement that the best chances for thunderstorms are eastern Michigan.
Thank you for that. I do want to address something in the comments here. I see a lot of, I'm not going to call it drama here between our moderators and those asking questions. We do not like to answer location-specific questions. I covered this a little bit earlier on the stream. When it comes to severe weather, pinpointing what towns are going to see what is impossible. We couldn't tell you that. Other pages couldn't tell you that. Your local meteorologist can't tell you that. What we can tell you is general risk areas, because the environment is much the same across a wide portion of Michigan. We have models that can help us, but they can get us close, but not going to be perfect with it. So when you come in here to chat and ask us, what about my town? Over and over and over again, we're not going to have a good answer for you. But if you listen in, if you know you're part of the state, east part of the state, better chance tomorrow. So if you're living in Flint or, for example, Port Huron, you're on the east part of the state, you're in the highest concern tomorrow, but we can't answer your specific location about Flint or Port Huron. We just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could get rain, you could get a bad storm, you could stay clear. But the environment is better on the east side of the state. So it's about listening in for the key words there and looking at the map, understand the map there. So if you ask location or town specific information, we cannot answer those specifically because we just don't know about those certain towns. So when we say the east side of the state is in that better risk tomorrow, that includes all the places in yellow, and that's why it's important to know where you live on a map. So main cities, tomorrow's highest risk: Detroit, Adrian, Monroe, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Howell, Brighton, Flint, Port Huron, Port Austin, Harbor Beach, Alma, Lansing, Pleasant, Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Roscommon, Tawas City, East Tawas, Alpena. Those are the main cities within that highest risk tomorrow.
Yep, anywhere in yellow. And this risk could shift a little bit too, depending on timing. Earlier solution, we may see that yellow shift a little bit further west. A faster solution, it may also shift east as well. So this is subject to change. But again, the highest confidence is across portions of eastern Michigan. So stay weather aware tomorrow. We'll have an update tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. So we should have some more information and should have a better idea of how tomorrow is going to evolve based on the data that is obtained tonight, based on how our storm complex works the atmosphere. Think of it this way: more rain, more cloud cover, less destabilization, less widespread severe weather. A faster solution, we could have atmospheric recovery. So a lot of things to keep in mind here tonight. And it's an evolving solution, so keep that in mind. Data that we have tonight on guidance is not set in stone for tomorrow. It gives us a very good idea, a general idea, but the numbers aren't numbers yet until we have the numbers and data available tomorrow. So a lot of things to go over and look at overnight tonight, and a lot of things that just unfortunately won't be known until tomorrow, and that's largely dependent on this storm complex in Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois and how it affects us tomorrow. So
I also
a lot
want
of
to point
things
out,
to look at, a lot of things to figure out as well.
that's also why we do multiple live streams. So expect myself and or Joel back on here tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll give you guys the update. As long as you're not in severe coverage, we don't expect to be severe coverage that early, but we'll have an update for you guys in a live briefing form, as well as our forecast in a written form on the page. Stream will be on YouTube, X, Facebook, and Twitch as well. Yep. So with that said, Caleb, we're going to give a shout out to the sponsors. We're going to wrap things up here. I don't see anything else currently on radar that warrants concern for severe. I'm going to double check that real quick because the last time I checked it, my radar was out of date or out of sync 8 minutes. So it is 2 minutes old. I don't see anything. Maybe perhaps a downburst there in near Ortonville, north of 75 there. I don't see anything of concern with that though. So I think we're good to pop out of here and give our sponsors one last shout out here and pop out of here and just kind of monitor behind the scenes. So if you guys have any final questions, go ahead and drop them in chat and we will look at those once I'm done giving our sponsors a shout out here. As always, sponsors help us keep operations rolling, and they also provide services to you guys if you happen to need their services, from trees to roofing, siding, and even audio, video, and security. I'll go ahead and shout these guys out. Starting with our spotlight sponsor of the day, it is Rainbow Restoration, based in Kent County. For storm cleanup or restoration needs, you can get a hold of them at 616-583-1234. As always, thank you to Rainbow Restoration for being a sponsor here and being today's spotlight sponsor. We got Rapid Radios as well on board for communications in the field. Rapid Radios is our sponsor for that. Our Skycam sponsor, as well as audio video security needs, Guardian Technologies, based out of the Burton area. We have A-Class Construction Restoration in Mason County up in the western part of Michigan. We got Top Gun Roofing Exteriors in West Michigan as well. For insurance adjusting or claim help needs, Shield Public Adjusters across Michigan. Schneider Commercial Building Solutions for roofing and commercial roofing and building solution needs. Get a hold of Schneider. Got On Top Roofing in Livingston County. FBI Buildings for barn dominium needs across Lower Michigan. Kuiper Tree Care, West Michigan Tree Care sponsor there. We've got our Southeast Michigan tree sponsor, McKay Tree Specialists. The Thumb region, Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding. Katz Roofing and Siding, based in Lansing. Lifestyle Exteriors, also based in the Lansing area. And last and not least, our longest standing sponsor here at Michigan Storm Chasers, Storm Guard Roofing and Construction, based in Detroit, North Detroit metro area, Oakland, Macomb, Washtenaw area counties. All these sponsors provide services to you guys in the event you have damage via trees, roofing, or siding materials that got damaged in storms. They can help you through every step of the way, replacing those and working with your insurance to help replace that and get you guys back going after the storm. With that said, I'm going to pop out of here with Caleb, and we're going to monitor stuff behind the scenes. You guys enjoy yourselves. I guess I got to look at comments. I did ask for last comments, so I'm going to do that here. Caleb, anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think we covered it pretty well. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, go back to the early part of the storm or the stream before we went to severe ops, and we covered that in detail. We'll have a live stream tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Ryan and Joel will have you covered there. As always, thanks for hanging out with us here this evening. Glad I got to hang out with you as well. Always a privilege to get to hang out with my Michigan friends here, as I don't always do so. With that being said, have a wonderful evening. Before we go, I will mention we do still have a flood advisory in effect for north central Genesee County and east central Lapeer County for an hour and 44 minutes. Some heavy rainfall fell earlier this afternoon, 2 to 4 inches plus in that area. Hopefully by now, water is starting to recede off roadways, ditches are starting to percolate, so should be seeing that situation resolve itself here fairly well over the next few hours as well. So that being said, watch out for ponding on area roadways where it's not raining or where it is raining, and have a pleasant evening. And we will continue to monitor that storm complex across Illinois and Wisconsin. We will be watching that here this evening, and we'll post updates on the page too as to its projections and whereabouts here this evening. We'll keep you covered here tonight and into tomorrow. With that being said, have a wonderful evening. Great hanging out with you, and we'll see you at our next live tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Fingers crossed nothing else goes severe tonight. Otherwise, you'll see us a little bit sooner. With that being said, have a great evening, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
See you guys. Thank you.